everyone. This is the first, hopefully, of many. My name is Victorine. I'm the CEO and founder of Liv Cosmetics. And we have next to me Miss Berlamundi, who is my host, my co-host today. And we are having a special guest. If you don't know her, she's amazing. I'm sure you've heard about her at least. We have Madame Karen Hendrickson with us today. Thank you so much for being here, Karen.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, of course. So today we are here to talk about the beauty industry, the ins and the outs. Um, we want you to get the insights of the business, the business side of the business industry, the beauty industry. We don't talk about it a lot, I feel like, and that's what this podcast is about. We want people to have more insights about the industry, how it works, the other side, right? We see a lot of the glitz and the glam, it looks fancy on the outside, but what does it take really to make all these things happen? The back story. That's what we are here to talk about, right?
Yes, indeed. And before we even move on, since you're a very good rapper and I'm a very good singer, we're going to collaborate and sing a happy birthday song for
Yes,
Karen because it's her birthday. So
it's true. It's true.
I'm going to start and then you come in with a rap.
Right.
Ready?
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karen. Happy birthday to you. Drum roll. The rapper. No, wait, hold on. No, you're not supposed to say yeah. You're supposed to be rapping.
I'm supposed to rap on this.
Find a way.
Good, Karen. It's your birthday.
Hey,
You can
hey,
party like it's your birthday.
Okay.
We're gonna see Bacardi like it's your birthday.
Hey!
Hey!
It's your happy birthday.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Wow, that's super
Oh,
special.
Of course. We had to celebrate. It's Karen's birthday, and Karen is an amazing person. And you guys, you get to understand what we are talking about during this episode. So please, Karen, do us the honor of, telling the people who you are, where you come from, what you are all about.
Wow. Okay. In 5 words or less, right?
Yes.
Well, as you said, I'm Karen Hendrickson. I'm actually from Bermuda,
Wow.
which is a tiny island right in the middle of the Atlantic, all by itself. And but I've lived in Ghana now for almost 23 years. So in my time that I've been here, I have had an amazing array of experiences. But of course, some around the beauty industry through Rabito Clinic, but also on the other side, on the health side, as well as the IT side and clinical side as well. And that is on the corporate side.
Right.
But the other thing that I think Ghana has helped me develop is my creative side. The side for adventure, the side for experiencing new services, new products, and new environments. So the wanderlust to explore and see what's available has all come through my time in Ghana.
I see. So very interesting trajectory you have. But how did the beauty industry become a part of your being?
Oh, well, that's interesting. From a very young age, we start to see our older sisters and friends getting all glammed up. And I must say, I never really learned how to take it to that very high level in terms of makeup and all of that. But you want to look your best. When we start getting interested in boys and suddenly just pulling your hair back or putting on Vaseline on your lips is just not enough.
Yes.
So that started way back then. But in coming to Ghana, I have to say, I noticed that women, particularly when it's an event, they really showed up. And they showed up in a big way. Their hair, their makeup, their nails was always on point.
Are you saying this is something that didn't exist in Bermuda?
Well, it's not that it didn't exist, but I didn't really care. I didn't
Okay.
really pay that much attention to it. I had friends who they were always glammed up and they used to always get on my case because, Vaseline on the lips and, and I was good. I would even go out with rollers back then.
Wow.
But it was
Tomboy.
exactly, unless it was a really special occasion. And
Okay.
they used to tease the life out of me, but I really didn't care. So, but of course, that was in the days when they had sponge rollers, so you know how long ago that was.
Exactly.
But when I came to Ghana and I saw that, like, even if it was going to a child's birthday party, the women weren't showing up in, say, just jeans and a t-shirt. They were showing up like it was an adult party.
Yeah.
And so I started to pay attention, and I liked the diversity of not only fashion, but the beauty that I saw. You could see a stunningly beautiful, dark complected woman who knows she has amazing eyes and lips, and that's what she accentuates. And I would pay attention. I said, "Oh, I wonder where I could get that from," or whatever.
Yeah.
So over time, I really started to up my game. I have to say, Ghana helped me really up my
You
game.
look the part.
Well, I'm a slow learner, but once I start learning, hey, I learn quickly. Yes, yes.
But what's your background, Karen? What did you study in
Oh,
school?
okay. I did two things. I studied accounting, which was my first degree, and my second degree was in marketing. But when I came out and actually started working, I was in the reinsurance industry in Bermuda as an accountant.
Okay.
Very rewarding financially, but very boring. You would go to a party and people were saying, "Oh, so what do you do?" And somebody say, "Oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm a this, I'm a that." And I'll say, "Oh, I'm an accountant."
Yeah.
So after 10 years, I was like, enough. Life's got to be more exciting than this. And I actually moved into investment banking
Okay.
and did that for about 15 years before
In
moving.
Bermuda.
In Bermuda,
Okay.
yes, at one of the largest banks in the world.
Okay.
I was an investment banker for the uber rich across the world. So I traveled a lot. I, had a lot of wonderful interactions. But again, after a while, I got boring. Yes, so you wanted to look for a more interesting adventure.
Right.
And that's when Ghana came into play after looking around for about 2 years. My husband and I, we knew we wanted to be somewhere on the continent, but it was only in visiting several of the countries where we were able to realize Ghana is where we want to
What
be.
made you decide on Ghana specifically?
That's an interesting question. I would say really it was familiar, but not too familiar. I'm originally and spent part of my childhood in Jamaica. And Ghana is just in my opinion.
I've heard that.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ghana is just a larger piece of Jamaica.
Right.
And I remember the first time I came to visit in like 1998, I said, it's like Jamaica broke off from Ghana and floated into the Caribbean.
Yeah.
The foods, the trees,
It's true.
yes, even
Similar.
the people.
Yes. Being stuff like Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So because of that, it was, I said, we could move here and we would be able to adjust much quicker than say if we had gone to a place like Angola, where their mother tongue was, or their colonial tongue was Portuguese and so forth. And the foods, everything was different. Nice, but different. So Ghana was just from culinary and to some respect cultural pathway was just an easier, yes.
Easy, yes.
Yes.
But I'm sure there were challenges and there were difficulties. How
Absolutely.
difficult was it assimilating?
Well, to assimilate, if one ever assimilates,
You still haven't. After 23 years.
it for me, it wasn't difficult. Like I don't have a problem venturing into things that I've never experienced before. Like, going into let's say Makala Market and just wandering around up and down like like I'm looking for something, but just to enjoy it. But at the same time, understanding all the cultural nuances it has taken a little longer because a lot of the people that I ask, they always can't find the English words to explain. So then I have to learn through observation and just constantly finding someone to ask. So for me, as a person who's been here, the assimilation I don't think has been difficult. No difficult than any other place that I would have gone to. But I want to know more. There's a thirst to know more about certain things. Like I've been to so many festivals in Ghana, which I can feel the passion, the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But I want to know, what does that dance mean? And why is it being done this way here and then that? And a lot of people can't always give me that information.
Let's try me.
Okay.
Tell me, so which festival were you at? Which dance did you see that you didn't like? Let's see if I can give you an answer.
Well, let's try the Homowa festival
Okay,
that they
good.
have. Yes.
Yes.
When the men dress up as women and they're dancing and they're singing songs, but a lot of it is more like a troop dance.
Yes.
I don't understand what the
That's how I'm thinking. I'm like, why did I just shoot myself in the foot?
This one you have to
Okay, and they're
figure it out.
dancing, and then what happens?
No, it's kind of like almost like a soldier step.
Yeah.
But they're dressed like women, and I understand it's a part of, if you well my under or what it was explained to me in the Homoa festival that I attended, that is the time of the year that they can speak truth to power.
Yes.
They can speak to their elders, but they do it disguised as another gender or something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was explained to me. But yet the actual steps that they do is almost like a military, it's not a military step like that, but it's
so particular that it has to be.
yeah,
to
there's
be
a
something.
meaning.
Exactly.
Yes, there's a meaning. But they just told me, well, that's how it's done.
Bella left the chat.
She just
Listen,
left the chat, guys.
when you get the explanation, let me know. How embarrassing though that I'm
Let's
from.
ask
I'm
the
from
audience.
that.
You
You're
know
from
me.
that. I'm Ghana.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry. I mean, it's understandable. It's unforgivable, but I guess you guys can understand. No, I don't.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we all don't seem to understand the real, essence
history
of most
behind-
of the,
yeah.
the acts and stuff. But I think let's find out.
In our tribe too in Senegal, I think most of these questions people don't think about them.
Yes,
Because
because
they've been around it all their lives. Yes.
Also
yes.
because I think we don't document
Yes,
That's
our
true.
culture as much.
we don't.
So it makes it very difficult, and most of the time is watered down because it's from one generation to the other. And so whatever they may have said in 1982 is not what you'll hear in 2023. So it
That's
makes it
very
difficult.
true. Like one of
Yeah.
the things that stood out with me, and I've been very fortunate. I've met 2 or 3 tour guides
Mhm.
who have really studied the cultures, and so they can answer a lot of questions. But one of the things I found very interesting about that particular festival,
Yeah.
they mark their houses with a sign on it.
Okay.
And I asked, of course, I asked about that, and then they hang something on it, and it goes right back to the days in Jerusalem and the Israelis in the Bible, where they marked the houses so there would not be a pox on their house.
Yeah.
And that is so fascinating because when you think of the distance
Mm-hmm.
from Jerusalem to Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
and it's being carried on
Yeah.
year after year.
Yeah.
And so it's part of the festival. So that's just one of the many
The
festivals.
audience has to tell
Yeah.
us.
Yes,
If any of you know why they do that and how they dance and all of
yes,
that,
yes.
Important.
It's
Maybe we should all go to that festival.
exactly.
Together. You've
Oh,
never
really?
been.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
we should.
Oh, yes, we should.
Yeah, we should.
And
it's every year.
Yes, it's every year.
it's every year,
Yeah.
and there's a meaning behind all the food, which
Yes.
and all of that. So it's really interesting. But there's so many festivals around Ghana
There are.
that I'm one of my missions or on my bucket list is to try to attend all at least once.
It's a great
that's
testament
yes.
of the rich culture.
Mhm.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
because it helps you to understand the people and the richness
Right.
of their
Right,
yeah,
right.
history. Yeah.
That's true. That's
Amazing.
true.
I'm learning a lot of.
Yeah. I know.
Let's go back to Right, Rabito.
Okay.
So
Yes.
everybody knows Rabito in
Yes.
Ghana. A very, solid brand. How did you get to Rabito?
Another interesting story. I was minding my own business, quasi semi-retired, wanting to do my gardening and my exploring around Ghana, and I was headhunted by a company on behalf of Rabito, but they didn't tell me it was the company at first. They just said there's a company, these are the specs, this is what they're looking for. Would you like to submit your CV? And initially I said no because I know that they wouldn't want to compensate me for what what my going rate is. And so initially she went away and said, okay, I'll let them know. But like a year and a half, 2 years later, they came back and said, no, they want to see you.
2 whole years.
Yes, yes, because of course they looked elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was not.
yes, yes. And so, and then that's how I like to call it the employment dance started. And I have to say, it was a grueling series of interviews and papers, test cases
Wow.
that you had to write. Yeah, it wasn't just go and meet somebody and then shake your hand. But it was all things that was not new to me because that's how they do a lot of interviews in the West,
Right.
particular for senior positions.
Yeah.
And after all was said and done, about 2 weeks later, I got the call that now the board wanted to meet me. And then, yes, so I would say within, let's say, 5 weeks of the initial contact made by the recruitment agency, they made me an offer. And so I started in 2017, and my first order was because, of course, I knew about Rabito by the
Yeah.
time I found out who the company was. I had actually gone there on behalf of my niece many years ago
Okay.
when she was 14 and had an incredible breakout of acne that I remember when my husband went to pick her up in the UK because she was in school in Jamaica. And he called me and he said, you better be prepared because when she comes, her face.
Yeah.
And so I started calling around then and asking people, who should I take her to when she gets here? And everybody said Rabito. And so I had had that experience. And then she came, she got her treatment, her face was fine. She went back to school, and the rest is history. She's come since then just to get products.
Okay.
So, but from 2017, I started, working to refresh the brand. I was amazed at the amount of people who thought the brand had died or it was no longer open because they just hadn't seen
Anything.
any, yes,
Yeah.
in a while. So, yes. And so that's how I came to be at Rabito.
I see.
Yes.
So did you have any idea what you were walking into? Because it's one thing knowing about the brand and knowing that people know this is a
Yes.
go-to place for skincare.
Yes. Yes.
But walking in then realizing this is an almost dead, and I use that
Yes,
advice
it's-
in brand.
That's true. Well, actually, I because of the case studies I had, I kind of had an inkling. And then when I started, the first thing I did was I visited every branch they had at the time, and I spoke to every single employee. So within 2 weeks, I had a picture that I was walking into what I like to refer to as the wild, wild west. Yes, no computer system, no everything being done as it was done like 30, 40 years ago. And
And Rabito was in existence already for how many
oh
years?
yes, at that point, I
even
think
before I was born.
it was yes, oh yes, yes. It will be Rabito will be 50 years old next year.
That's amazing. I mean, you don't have a lot of 50 years old companies in
Exactly.
Still in existence.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let alone
That's true.
like
That's true.
that are like very focused on beauty, skin.
Yes, and skin, exactly. And that's a testament to
Right.
the longevity of the company. And, I always like to say the first 50 is almost the easiest.
Right.
It's the second 50
Yeah.
that's the hard ones because to now make it an institution where it's been around for getting up for 100 years. Now that is the hard part.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
And people change, environments change, neighborhoods change. And that's one of the things that I've learned in my time with Rabito is that a hot, booming neighborhood 15 years ago could be a ghost town now.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to pick up your tent and move to where the communities have moved so that you are close to your customers.
Yeah.
And that and those are some of the things that in any business, not just Rabito,
Right.
but you have to always have your finger on the pulse of what the community wants. And skincare is no different
Right.
because um when I think back about 30, 40 years ago, most of us were told to use Noxzema on our face. Do you remember those days?
Things that we
Or
used to do.
Pond's, and that was your beauty treatment.
Yeah.
And you didn't even question it
No.
because, now,
That's all you
not even a teenager
Mhm.
could you convince her
To
to
use
put
that.
Noxzema
Yeah.
on
On
your
their
face.
face, yeah.
It just would not happen. And so, and businesses that don't keep their pulse on what's happening, they will lose out.
Yes.
And beauty care moves
So
so
fast.
rapidly, so quickly that more and more people, particularly young people, they want to look fantastic, but they don't want a lot of fuss.
Yeah.
You know those 10-step
It's
things.
too easy.
You do this, you wait for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
1 minute.
They don't want to do that. Is it because they don't understand the need for them to go through those processes, or they just don't have the time?
It's not that they don't have the time, they just feel, why should it be? Everything else is quick. They're on the internet. They're no longer doing dial-up on the internet.
everything is
Their
quick
whole life is fast-paced.
Mhm.
Most of them aren't. It's not that they have something else that they're doing,
Yeah.
but the young people of today and even of my generation, we feel things should be convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We no longer feel we have
Life
to
is
sacrifice.
tight enough.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Yes. So and that's one of the challenges that I always had with beauty care regimes. These 3-4 hour multi-step programs, and then at the end you almost forget why you were doing all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
good
just
point.
too much.
We deal with this because this is what we do. We are here to
Exactly.
make people's life easier.
Exactly.
You shouldn't
Exactly.
suffer though. You shouldn't suffer. You
That's
should
right.
Look your best, feel your
Yeah.
best, but it doesn't
Without
mean
having to struggle for it, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And and that's one of the things, if you don't mind me saying, I liked about your brand because I wanted to give it a try. Not just because I love the packaging. And it's crazy. I am more drawn to packaging sometimes
Okay.
than what's inside
It's
the
not just
actual.
you. I feel like most people
Yeah.
these days.
Packaging attracts you first.
Exactly, exactly. And when it feels sensuous in your hands, then you can't help but say, "Ooh, I gotta try this."
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I started trying the cleanser, I loved the fact that all you have to do is put it on a cotton wool and put it on your face,
That's it.
and then clean it off. Yeah,
That's it, guys.
I mean, how easy is that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Even if you have a full face of makeup on, you can still do that. And for me, it just makes life easier,
Yeah.
honestly. Honestly. I have so many friends and they look so gorgeous when they step out, but they can't get dressed in less than 2 hours
Yeah.
because an hour and a half is just doing
Just for the face.
yeah.
It's amazing.
So, and let's face it, most of us, not all, but most of us are blessed with beautiful faces.
It's true.
So, why
I
do
do so much.
exactly? Why do we need a skincare regime, particularly at night?
Yeah.
You come home from a fabulous event and you've had time, and then you've got to do some 10-step program before you can get in your
And
bed.
actually, we went through the numbers,
Oh,
and
I
when
see.
the numbers say that you actually people start, but they don't
They
finish.
don't finish.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So because at the beginning it's fun and all, we want to
Yes.
do it, but then the sustainability of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought it was just me.
No, the
Just me,
numbers
because-
actually say it.
Okay, yes. And that's why, there was a time in my life, I think in my early 30s, when fashion fair was a thing. Okay, that's in fact,
Do they still exist?
I don't think so,
No.
but they were the thing at the time. And I remember going to like a department store. In fact, it was Macy's in Manhattan. And they did your makeup for you, and then they sold me like practically a suitcase
Full
of makeup cleansers, all the stuff, toners, whatever, whatever. I don't even think I did 2 weeks.
Mm.
2 weeks. And then I just gave it all away. It was work.
Yeah.
It was work. And I was like, this is crazy.
And this is how many years ago?
Oh,
Quite a
more
number,
more
yeah?
than 30 something
Yes.
years
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
And we are
Exactly.
still at it.
Exactly.
Well, I think that the beauty industry has evolved over time.
Oh, they have.
Where you're saying that
Somehow.
yes, you looked at the numbers and now you realize that people don't have time for that anymore.
Exactly.
So if you're creating a product,
That's
it
right.
should suit
Exactly.
the convenience of
Yes,
your client.
That's right. Which they are demanding.
Yes.
It's, the clients, myself included, we all feel entitled that we should be able to get what we want
Yeah.
and still get the results that, a 12-step program would have given us. And the products that step up to that, they're successful.
Yes.
They're absolutely successful.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. I want you to give us 3 things that you think that the company, okay, let's say beauty company, or any company in the scene, creative industry, the 3 things that you need to have to be successful or to be sustainable.
Well, the first one is it has to be no more than 3 steps. One would be ideal, but no more than 3. The other one, which might surprise you, the directions must be clear, easy to read, not so tiny that you can't see it. And then the third thing is the product must be as advertised, meaning don't promise something and you can't deliver it. Yes. Those 3 things really make a difference because it engenders trust. As consumers, we will usually start what I like to say the gateway product. So it might just be the cleanser or the moisturizer, but if it's making fabulous promises and it doesn't deliver, I'm not going to go back and try their other lines, and most products have multiple lines that, and because they want to get people in the ecosystem. But if those 3 things can be done, and of course, like a sensual feeling, like I just love going to stores where they have different products and just feeling the bottles and looking at them, because it does something to you. It makes you feel, I don't know, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Special. Absolutely special. So those are my 3 things. Did you have 3 things in mind that you thought?
Well, I think I agree with all of them. Definitely, of course, directions.
Yes.
And the 3 steps, right? It needs to be easy, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Right. But those are, very beauty company directed, right? But what would you say, like, for the industry, the creative industry as a whole, for a company to thrive?
Yeah.
In the
Like
creative.
tips, like how business tips.
Oh, business
Yes,
tips.
business tips.
Okay. Well, first of all, they have to know who their customer is. And when I say know to the point where you understand their pain points and you understand what would make those pain points go away. Now, that sounds really easy, but
No, but
trust
it's
me,
not.
it's difficult.
It's not.
It's really difficult. So that is a key thing. The second thing, from a business perspective, once you've identified those pain points, you have to test it out. Don't just assume, okay, I got it. This is what my customer wants. Because from the time you did your research and the time you're ready to go, say, to market,
Right.
things could have changed.
Right.
and there may be a different trend that is there, and those two things are paramount. But then the third thing is making sure that you over deliver what your customer wants. You have to wow them.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, anticipating their needs and treating them like human beings.
Okay.
Yes. So let me go at it from a negative perspective for a second. Every business at some point has a dissatisfied customer. I don't care whether you're McDonald's or whether
Yeah.
you're the De Beer Mining Company producing diamonds. Every company has an unhappy customer at some point. But it's how
How
you
you deal with it.
handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Some
How has Rabito handled that?
well, we try to go directly to the customer and hear from them firsthand, allow them to explain, get their frustrations out, talk about it, and really listen and not be like, oh, trying to give excuses, etc. And then thanking them for their candid feedback,
Even if they're being rude and obnoxious?
even if they're being rude and not obnoxious. And believe me, it happens all the time.
Okay.
But I tell you, that client will respect you in the end, because a lot of times it's just frustration, it's just anger. I had this customer who called on behalf of his wife, who, irate is too easy of a word. That man, in fact, before I got his number, all the various managers had tried to deal with him, and he had cut them down to pieces.
He was not having it.
And they called to tell me about it, because they wanted me to know, and they said there's nothing you can do, but in case you get blowback. And I said, give me his number. Let me talk to him. And I called him, and oh boy, he went on for a good 45 minutes. But I took notes, I listened to him. He was so angry, and in some respect, quite rightly so.
Yeah.
And when he was finished, I asked him a couple of questions, and I said, let me look into it and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Now, I had the answers already, but I needed him to feel that he had been heard, and that it heard enough, and that I would look into it, which I still did. Now, when I called him back and explained to him what that granted what was told to him was correct, but it wasn't said in the right way. You understand? And that the reason that activity we don't allow was to protect people like his wife. And I gave him examples. And he was like, well, why didn't they just say it like you said? And I said, well, not everybody has the vocabulary, especially when someone is angry, to break it down and explain it. And it was a very sensitive issue. And he said something that I'll never forget. He said, you have turned the flame down on them from my pot.
Oh.
And I'd never heard that phrase before, but it meant his anger had gone.
How did it make you feel?
It made me feel very good,
Yeah.
because I had managed, by respecting him, listening to his issues. And there were a couple of things that he said that we could improve on.
Right.
And I told him that. And that's why patients or customers, they just want to be treated like human beings.
Yeah,
They
just be
want to be
honest.
respect and honesty. But having the vocabulary, so that, and but what I mean by vocabulary is saying it in such a way that's not offensive.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you an example. I was in New Jersey a couple of months back to this restaurant that had been referred to us for breakfast. The service was beyond horrible. I mean, if I had to rate them, they would have gotten a -100.
Oh.
That's how bad it was. And what made it worse is when the waitress finally came to our table, and we said to her, you need more help in here on a Sunday, because the line was out the door. She said, well, you should tell so and so restaurant not to close on a Sunday. That's how she addressed the
Oh.
problem. And I turned to my friend who had recommended the place. I said, don't ever recommend this place, even to your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because there was no understanding or empathy, nothing, nothing. And the service was so bad that even though the food was good, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You understand? So for me, treating your customers with a wow experience, and I'll tell you an example of what I talk about, a wow experience.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when I think it was like, let's say my second or third trip to Ghana, knowing that I was moving here, I had, in those days, you could carry up to 4 suitcases. And I came, got up at the airport, no luggage, no luggage, no luggage.
4 suitcases.
4 suitcases, nothing. And I went to report it. And I met this lady.
I think those people are the worst. They have the worst customer service.
You would think, exactly. And
Well.
I was ready for
Yeah.
all 4 suitcases gone, were not there. But the lady that I met there, her customer experience was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So much so that I'm still friends with her to today.
Oh, wow.
And when my luggage finally arrived the next day in plastic bags, like a homeless person, the way she handled my suitcases being replaced and everything was at such a level. And I remember my husband was like outside waiting for me. He was like, what's taking so long and everything? And I went out there smiling and laughing. And he says, you're happy?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I met this lady. I said, her customer service, you will not believe it.
Yeah.
And she took an incredibly stressful situation where I had every right to be angry, and she turned it around so that I really felt her empathy.
Yeah.
And what she would do everything in her power to make it happen. And that's what I'm talking about. Wow service, absolute wow service.
That's a challenge that I think in Ghana we face a lot.
Yes.
Because you go to a lot of businesses just to purchase something, and you would find on social media people say that they made it seem as if they were doing me a favor.
Exactly.
By rendering their service or selling their product to me.
Absolutely. And you feel it all the time. It has gotten better over the last 20 years. I mean, it was worse 20 something years ago. But
no.
Oh, trust me.
It was crazy.
You would go into shops and the girl sleeping on the counter would just look at you
like, what are you
and just
Yeah.
put her head back down.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't think you're coming in there to buy anything. And sometimes I wouldn't even turn on the lights. And oh my goodness, you know, thankfully you don't see that as much now, but those were cases of where people would invest a ton of money in a business and then put the equivalent of their house girl to be in the shop.
There. So that means they don't even understand
exactly
that this is a business and you must get an equipped person to run it.
Exactly.
The simplest things, like for me, what's shocking is the hello.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You're even lucky if you get a hello.
Thank you.
You're even lucky if you
Exactly.
get a
I
hello.
go to the supermarket. I want to buy some things. Hello, you're not responding to me.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. You're
exactly.
very lucky to even get a
Get a
hello.
hello.
Listen,
In fact,
they don't care.
when we came, we actually opened up a business called The Scoop.
Okay.
And the staff could not even speak to the customers until they had had 2 weeks of training. Okay. And every person who entered that door, no matter who, had to be welcomed. Be welcome to the Scoop.
That's basic.
People thought you would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah.
It became such a thing that people would come just to see if it was true. But over time, people started to realize better customer service, you get better customers, and customers are happier and they will promote your business.
Not to hold brief for the store attendants, but there's also the case where the owners of the businesses do not treat the attendants right.
That's
and
true.
so they extend that.
And they don't train them.
Exactly.
Nobody is an automatic excellent customer service.
Yes.
The training.
And the training. And that's why, like in the Scoop, if you joined and they'd be all in their uniform, I would say, no, I just need you to observe, learn your script. When it's slow, we'll practice. so that when you are on the floor as a full-time employee, you are able to interact with the level of service that we want to give. And you know, the other thing that used to drive me crazy, you would walk into a store, particularly like a restaurant, and you would say, "Oh, what do you recommend?" I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
They don't even know what's on the
Because
menu.
the owners don't allow them to taste or to try. And that was something that was integral in our business. That so that if you walked in and you say, "Oh, I don't know what I want." "Oh, well, would you like," we had a script.
Yeah.
"Or do you like fruity things, or are you more chocolate or whatever?" And so they could engage them in conversation. And people used to always say to me, "Where did you find these people? They are so amazing." And I would say, "It's training."
Yeah.
It's training.
It's true, we don't do it.
We don't.
We don't.
So would you say that's the most important thing in starting your business? I mean, your products may be good, they may be great, but if you don't have the right customer service, you won't keep
You're dead
your
in the
clients.
water.
Yeah.
You're dead in the water. And that is why there are some businesses, their product is not good, but there's a line out the door all the time.
Yeah.
Because they are treated.
Because they
well.
make people feel like they matter.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's all that we care about. I mean, I don't like to drop names, but do you remember the lines that used to form outside of Frankie's back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
And
look,
Frankie's is not.
Yeah.
the service used to be, it used to be like, "Well, yeah, what do you want? Hurry." But you see, eventually people vote with their feet.
Yeah.
So businesses, if they really want to succeed, they must treat the customer as king.
Right.
But of course, the product has to back that up to be able to generate the repeat business. Because anybody can come for the first time.
Yeah.
But
Will
for,
you come back?
exactly.
You talk about my business
in a
to other
positive
people.
light. Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
It's
yes.
important. I think it's a good point. Like we tend to forget we are human beings and we make
Yes.
products for other human beings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the point, the crucial point here is people.
Yes. Yes. And everybody, in fact, I would say every living being wants to feel that they matter. Okay. And whether it be a child, you know, have you been to some places where people even don't even acknowledge the child?
Yeah.
It's, you know, not
They
even
don't.
a good, children remember things like that. They remember.
They grow up
And
thinking about
eventually
it.
they will be consumers as well. So having a business plan that also makes excellent customer service part of the business plan is key. It's really key. Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I know. That's a very important part of the conversation.
Well, it is. And the places, I mean, I would describe myself as a shopaholic, as most women are.
Yeah.
And we know the places that we like to go to. And places that have what we're looking for, and they make us feel like we matter.
Yeah.
It's true. I enter a shop. If you don't look at me, I won't even stay there like 5 seconds. I'll just go out. I enter, you don't even dare to look up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you to your face before I leave. I make you aware that you just lost a customer because of your rude
exactly.
behavior.
I was coming in here to buy XYZ, but I'm taking my business down the street.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of that, there's actually a business in East Legon where it's closest to my house and they have everything that I would normally want to buy.
Is it clothing?
No. It's like household stuff, cleaning products, etc. Very convenient. Even the brands that I'm used to.
Yeah.
But the owner of the business is like a sour lemon and a sour grapefruit mixed together. In fact, sometimes she doesn't even want to get up, and she's the owner.
And she's there.
The
face.
So after one particularly rude exchange.
Why do you even bother to be in business?
Thank you. So
you're dealing with a lot.
So after one particularly rude exchange, when she said, "You buy it or you don't buy it, I don't care."
She said,
"Wow."
I was like, "Okay, you've made a valid point." I got back in my car and I have never gone back in that store.
Oh, that was
even in COVID.
Yeah.
when people were looking for Lysol and I saw she had it,
You still wouldn't
I did
recommend.
not go.
No.
And then when I started talking to
Oh, she's
people,
rude.
so many people said, "Oh, that's why we don't go there. We
Oh.
don't go there."
I don't know that.
Yes, it only the desperate or people who think it's still those times back in like Rollins' time where you just queue up and whatever they throw at
Yeah,
you
you just
get.
take it. Yeah.
But I will never step foot in that woman's store.
God.
And there's another store that has come just a little further from the house, which I frequent all the time. They're probably even more expensive.
But you'd
But
rather
yet you
pay
rather
more for
go
good,
there.
good service.
You step into that store, somebody is there. How can I help you? Because you know these stores are real small to move around, and they are there. The owner, she remembers. Oh, we didn't have this the last time. We have it now. Or
Yeah.
do you want me to call you when it comes in?
Yeah.
Why would I take my hard-earned money
Mhm.
and go and put it with a sourpuss
Yeah.
who acts as if her shoes are hurting?
I won't give you the money. Why?
Never. And you know, and
So
so
much to learn to do in,
Yeah.
especially in Africa, right?
you know, there's a Chinese proverb: if you don't like to smile, don't open a shop.
Mm.
Simple. That's what I just said. Like,
Exactly.
why would you go there?
Thank you. But they are there. They are there.
But you see, the thing is, there's certain days when you're not yourself. You're not in a good
Doesn't
mood.
matter.
And you have to still go to work.
Yes.
How do you manage? Because I may be smiling, but I'm not smiling.
But
My soul is not smiling.
It's true.
And you just walked in at the time when I feel my lowest self.
What do I do?
What do I do? It's not my fault if I'm not too nice to you.
No, it is. It is. You have to
You have
dig
to
deep.
become an actress.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
You have to dig deep and know where your bread is buttered. I would say all the time at Rabito to the staff, because yes, we all have emotional and personal issues. It
Right.
happens all the
Right.
time. But the customer who is paying us
It's
is
not-
not coming to
Yeah.
to
It's not his fault.
encounter our problems.
Right.
And if the problem is that bad, then don't come in that day or don't open your shop that day because
It's not the same for you when you're on TV. You know.
Listen, it's tough. Well, that's also customer service, like in a mug.
True.
Yeah.
You know, look, I remember back in the day when I was living in Bermuda, I did a lot of acting on the stage. It wasn't for movies, as a hobby. And I became, Bermuda's very tiny, so it was very easy to become like a Berlamundi. Very, very famous, very, you know, you, no, you
Don't undermine your accomplishment.
well, Bermuda's 60,000 people, so I have to put
only?
it, yeah, so I have to put it in context. But I couldn't go anywhere. Everybody was like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And there were days when you just didn't want to be bothered.
Exactly.
But you couldn't do that. You had to be gracious. And I remember one day, the boyfriend I had at the time, we were at a restaurant eating, and somebody rushed up to me, oh, could I have your autograph? Because I had just done a series of live
Karen, you're a
plays.
star.
And I signed, and I was all da-da-da-da-da, you know. And then when the person left, he said, could we just not have one meal where people are not asking you for your autograph? Right then and there, I said, he's got to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Because he didn't understand that this is your fan base. You have to cater to them. And they weren't asking for a pint of blood. They were simply asking for
It's not touch.
yes. And yes, and there are days, look, even in my day-to-day activities, I will get a call. The last thing I want to do is to be like
To be talking.
gracious and whatever. But
have to be.
that's what, yes, that is what our customers.
Listen, the lesson here, we all have to have this actor thing going on.
Exactly.
Whatever
and we
we
have
do.
to work at it.
Yes.
You know? And it's not always easy, but we have to work at it. And if not, your business will not thrive. You know, the best type of advertising is word of mouth, but it's also the worst type of advertising is word of
When
mouth.
it destroys things, it's difficult
Exactly.
to fix and rebuild.
Absolutely. So, you know, and this is why I had a rule generally in some of the businesses that I have done, retail businesses like the ice cream business. I never hired anybody who used to work for government for a long period of time.
Why?
Because the work ethic and attitude is totally different
Yeah.
from focusing on excellent customer service all the time. Okay. If somebody is indoctrinated, and let's say, we used to mostly hire young 20 somethings. If they've worked 3-4 years, say, in some government department, there's 2 weeks of
No way.
training is not going to get them.
No, they need like a whole year of training.
Yes. And so, because you need to get them working quickly, yes. So it's very good to have a clean slate and people who understand what it feels like to have excellent customer service,
Yeah.
which was one of the things I used to do with training. After they did their 2 weeks training, they would then go with me to Frankie's, because at the time they were the epitome of everything that was wrong with customer service. And they would get money, like in those days, like 2,000 Ghana cedis was like $1 million today.
Yeah.
And they would each get 2,000 Ghana cedis and go in to buy whatever they want, and then later tell us their experience.
Victorine, you never did that with us.
What is she talking
It's not
about?
too late. Take us out for lunch.
Yes.
Should we go to Frankie's? Where do we go? Where do we go?
I would like to think their customer service is improved now, but they used to come out and say things like, she didn't even look at me. She just pointed at, and when I paused, she told me, hurry up. Because you see, in those days, they were the one. There were no other pastry shops that you could go to. Oh my goodness. But what that showed them is what it feels like after you've been trained for 2 weeks straight on all the things you need to do to give that wow experience. And then you are sent to a place to now go and be served. It's the difference is really clear.
Yeah.
It's really clear.
This is an important conversation to have, especially in our environment, right? Now, we can talk about this, like we can go on and on. You will never finish, guys.
Yes.
But let's take this to the future, right? So,
Okay.
how do you see the future of beauty?
Oh.
What are the trends? Where do you see it
Well,
going?
I see artificial intelligence
course,
getting involved
I think we'll have to.
at some level, probably in the making and the application, but it will always be with us.
The people still have to be in the center.
Well, at the end of the day, we are vain. Human beings are vain. We want to look the best. Now, the trends may change.
Yeah.
It may get to a point where, it's fashionable to have a gash in your head.
Yeah.
And people who don't want to cut themselves will have to find a way to make the makeup look like it's a gash. Or, because look at tattoos now. If you would have told me tattoos would be a thing, even 10 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. So the future, I don't know what it holds. But I do know that beauty will always be with us, the cosmetic business. And I think, though, there will be more focus on internal beauty.
Really?
Yes.
Wellness.
Wellness.
I feel like we're retrogressing because it's more about what you see on the outside. And so we're piling on a lot of fake stuff.
But
and that's
going to get tired.
Are they really?
They will. No, not right now. But she said
the future, right?
Let's
so that's how
10
you say
years
it.
out. It's just
you already see the trends now. People are more into organic.
Yes, that's the
So
sign.
you see, that's the start.
But then there's also a lot of people who are, look at Botox and BBL and all that. And that seems to be the order of the day now.
It's true. That it now. And if you'd have told me 10 years ago that would be a thing in Africa, let alone Ghana, I would
never
have
would
said,
have believed
Berla, are you kidding me?
We have it already, right?
Exactly. But you just walk through Makala and you see how many underwear they're selling with all that extra, the poor man's Botox, But I'm telling you, I've lived long enough to see everything is cyclical.
Right.
Yeah.
And while
Right.
beauty will be with us, it will be in different ways.
Yeah.
I think there's a trend, particularly with are they called Gen Z?
Mm-hmm.
They're moving
We
to
have some
natural.
here, guys. We are surrounded by Gen Z.
Yeah, they're moving to natural. Not everybody,
Yeah.
you know, but the more secure and confident ones, they're moving to natural, organic. They're
Yeah.
also making sure that their beauty isn't just say their face,
Yeah.
but it's their body, it's what they're wearing.
wholeness.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm starting to see inklings of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in 10 or 15 years,
Yeah.
that could be the trend
Okay.
for a while, but it may also swing
Hopefully, yeah,
back.
right? Because we are in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and right now in labs across Europe and North America, you've got scientists tinkering away, getting ready for those trends.
Yeah.
Because that's where these large or not it's just pharmaceutical, but the cosmetic industry like L'Oreal,
Yeah.
what they spend on just research
Mm-hmm.
could
It's more than anything.
is more than most countries in Africa have to spend
GDP.
on exactly.
Yeah.
So they are already seeing glimmers of the future and what is to come,
Yeah.
and they're trying to ensure that they are in on it. So take for instance things like this. What do they call it? Molecular cellular
Yeah.
water.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have told me,
Yeah.
even 5 years,
5 years
ago, that there is a water that can clean better than the water that comes out of your tap, I would say, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But look at the people who are buying that,
Buying.
myself included,
Oh.
because when I tried it, I don't know what they have in it. It does it gets your makeup off easier.
Yeah.
It does, your face isn't dry. So things are moving towards realms that we don't even know about. And I feel that as long as we're open to it and embrace what works for us, we shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah.
Embrace what works for us, because with over almost 2 billion people in the world, there's always going to be segments that stick with the old trends, and yes,
to also move on.
exactly, yes.
I see.
But people like Brella will always be beautiful. It doesn't matter.
We all are actually. We all are.
It's true.
Yes, and that's because we use our lip serum.
I like how
A little product placement here and there.
Exactly. No, it's good.
She gotta stop talking about
Listen,
herself.
I'm working towards lunch at Frankie's. That's what I'm doing.
No, I think we should
Thank
do
God
that.
there's no Frankies in Ghana, guys. There's no Frankies.
Oh, there is a
Oh, there
Frankie's.
is. They're still there.
There's no
Is there?
Still there.
Yeah,
Wait, you
yes.
didn't know?
You didn't know?
For me, it was.
Oh, you see, the lines are not around the building anymore. That's why. If
For
you were,
me, it was close.
No.
Didn't even go there.
do.
you have a Frankie's hotel
Yeah,
now.
hotel is here.
Yeah.
They have
What
good
is-
breakfast.
Oh, they have good breakfast. Okay, see.
Well, until COVID came, and then they
okay.
started reducing the portions. And then
You see.
yeah, well, let's
Again, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And and that's another thing when you talk about customer experience and what's to expect. There's a place in Osu that, oh my gosh, I've been going to them since they opened. And they tried for a segment to reduce the portion size to keep the price the same
Yeah.
when everything was going up. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
A lot
They
of
even
people do
found
that.
containers where when you looked at it, it looked like it was the same size, but then when you opened it, it went down really small. And I guess myself and many, many others complained. And so they reverted back to what they had before, and they just explained managing customer expectations
Yes.
because of rising prices, and we want to give you the same quality and standard we did before. What used to cost you 20 is now going to cost you 80.
Yeah, that's basically it.
But guess what?
You're still buying.
Still go. I know. Not as often, but I
But-
still go.
You're a
And
good customer.
because it's consistent. One of the things they have that they're the only people I will eat from. They make a tuna fish sandwich that sounds like, well, what's the big deal
I
about
think
fish?
Frankie should pay us after this.
I know.
no,
too
this
much
isn't
advertisement,
Frank. I
but
have
this is
step-
not. It's another
This
company.
is another company.
We're
I
not
have no
mentioning
step
names
photo-
again.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I'm not going to say the name of this place because other people may discover it. And yeah.
Yeah. You want exclusivity.
Well, no, not only that. I want to, when I go there, it's ready, But so when I first started buying from them, the same tuna sandwich was 5 CDs, but delicious and consistent. When I tell you consistent.
The same one.
Fast forward, I went there since I've been back from vacation. The same sandwich, nothing has changed except for the economy, is now 60 CDs.
I was going to say 15.
From 5 to 60?
No. In between, it's
Okay,
been
it kept moving.
yes. And I said at 20 I was gonna stop.
Yeah.
And I said
But
at 30 I
60
was gonna
Not
stop.
for a sandwich.
Did you pay for the?
I did.
Oh,
Because,
would you go back?
Oh yeah. But of course I can't go every day.
Yeah.
But guess what? The service, when I walk in there, they said, "Is it tuna today?" They're reaching for it.
And they give it to you.
Yes. Can we get you anything else? And I say, no, it's all I can afford to get. And then I savor it. It's
Yeah.
like a treat. But the service has always been 100%. And I understand they're not putting it up just because they're greedy,
Yeah.
but things cost money.
Yeah.
But if the service was, I would have found another place that could do a tuna, or just stopped eating it. Yes. So that's why I say customer service in business is so key. Yeah.
Thank you so much for all these gems, Karen.
Yes. So can I ask a question?
Okay.
What is Liv Cosmetics? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
What is this?
Tables are turned.
Doing reverse.
Now,
Yes, why
this is
not?
customer service. You should be nice to your customers. Tell us what it is.
Okay, guys, as you can see,
Uh-huh.
live for us. We've been talking about organic, natural, all of that. It's like living, right? It starts within, right? For us, it's all about self-confidence. The person that you are inside, that's what's gonna determine if you are a beautiful or not beautiful person. Yes. So that's what we are all about.
I see.
Yes.
So I see some products on the table. Can you tell me a little bit about the products? I'm just curious. I like, I told you I'm adventurous.
Yeah.
So
But you started using it.
She's reliving her times on stage.
So,
Yeah.
yes,
So by the time this is done, we need to ask for her autograph.
definitely, you have to give us your autograph before
Yeah.
you leave. But I mean, we do organic skincare for men and women,
Oh.
and we are here for simple, easy, but efficient.
Oh, wonderful.
Right. So all the products are very organic. We are certified FDA, and all these products are very safe. We are a clean brand, so we don't use plastic. We only use natural ingredients like just oranges, citrus, jojoba, baobab oil, things that we have a lot here in the continent that
Exactly.
are good for our skin.
Yes.
And that's what we try to take and put it in the products.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad you explained that, because I was looking at the sign behind you and I was like, Liv Cosmetics. I don't know if I've heard of
Do you
them
know
before.
why we wanted you as the first guest of the Live podcast?
Tell me.
Because you are the epitome of also what the company is, right? You're such a hardworking, woman. And you represent diversity. Look at you coming from Bermuda, living in so many countries, and you took a big risk in your life. You left everything that you knew to come and live in Africa, in Ghana, where you don't know anybody. For me, that says a lot about you.
True.
Right. And so it's special for us.
Oh, thank
for
you.
to be here.
I love being the first of anything.
Ladies
So
and gentlemen,
it's been a pleasure.
Karen Hendrickson, CEO of Rabito, and so many, many, many more things.
And the visual orator, that's my actual other name as well.
Okay.
Because as you can see, I can be a little expressive with my descriptions.
Yeah.
So, so people refer to me as the visual orator. And it's been a delight to be here and to be the first. No one can take that away from me.
Never, never. Please, we'll leave you all the details of Karen, how to get her. It's been amazing. Thank you to my co-host Berlamundi here. You'll be seeing a lot of us.
Yes.
So get ready for the magic.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. And sitting here as a guest, I can feel the magic and the synergy between the two of you. You're an awesome duo. And I'm expecting great things from Live Cosmetics.
Amen. Amen.
We're coming to Bermuda soon.
Oh, wonderful. I like that.